I told you about that Harley-Davidson event at the White House. We were showing you a little earlier where the president got to see some of the latest product of that company. There was a back and forth as to whether he was going to go out to Wisconsin to visit Harley-Davidson or Harley-Davidson come to him. They came to him. The idea being that a lot of these CEOs, representatives from U.S. manufacturers, top flight financial companies, many of them will be gathering with the president tomorrow. Who's who in the technology world, in the banking world. You know the drill. This is what happens, and this has been the scene now for the last roughly 2 weeks of this young administration. Someone else who has had an opportunity to meet with the president, Juanita Duggan, the CEO of the National Federation of Independent Businesses. Now, she met with the president yesterday, and I guess I'll just ask you what I've asked others who've had that opportunity. How did the meeting go, first off? So you tell me.
Well, thank you for having me, Neil. And I was deeply honored that the president called me to the White House yesterday to talk about small businesses' support for his Supreme Court nominee, Judge Gorsuch. The meeting was excellent. The president has an intimate understanding of the nominations process. I was very impressed. This is a great nominee for small business. We think that
Explain that, because you brought up some aspects of the judge that I didn't realize. But why is he something that would be perfect for your industry?
Well, for one thing, he has a record of sticking to the law. He does not have a record of wishing the law were different or trying to impose his own view about the law. He sticks to the law. We think that's very important from a regulatory stance. NFIB was the organization that tried to overturn Obamacare at the Supreme Court. We know how important one judge is. We think that he has the proper perspective. He is very skeptical of something called the Chevron doctrine. The Chevron doctrine was adopted by the court, and it gives deference to the agencies to interpret the law. We have seen that this has led to an avalanche of regulation that we believe way beyond the statutory limits. This has been a horrible problem for small business. It's the ball and chain economy, and Judge Gorsuch is very skeptical of the Chevron doctrine. I can't overestimate
the Chevron doctrine just went a little bit
is.
further, right? In other words, you go beyond what was necessary. You said that regulatory agencies often try to expand their own authority by stretching law beyond what Congress wrote. So in other words, going beyond what even Congress wanted. And this, quoting you in your statement, we're currently fighting against multiple regulatory agencies that did exactly that. What you're facing oftentimes is agencies sort of outdoing each other on regulations that are often duplicative. What makes you think one Supreme Court justice could or even would change that?
Well, we know the difference that one judge can make based on our experience as the main plaintiff in the Obamacare case. So we think it's very important for judges to be appointed, and not just this judge, but future judges who are skeptical of the Chevron doctrine. We know
so which
sometimes
is more
it only takes one
important to you?
judge.
I'm sorry to jump on you there, but if you had your druthers, since it looks like tax cuts might be delayed if they come to pass this year at all, I don't want to be cynical, but more likely regulatory action would not be delayed. Could you live with that?
The president has already started an aggressive assault on overregulation. His executive order from last week, we applaud.
So which is more important to you?
I don't think you can say one is more important than the other, because when we issue our problems and priorities report every 4 years, taxes, regulation, and health care costs are the three top problems for business. We'd like to have both. We'll take either one. But the president is moving by himself on regulatory reform. Congress has its own mechanisms that it has to follow. I always thought it was too ambitious for them to get a tax bill out by March or April. I'm not surprised. I don't feel defeated at all. I think they will get tax reform done. But the president is smart in using his own authority. There's so many things he can do alone without Congress to deregulate, and I'm pleased to see that he's not wasting any time.
All right. We'll watch very closely. Juanita Duggan, the NFIB head. Very good having you on.
Thank you for having me.